Hello, it's Melinda from Alexis and Melinda's Art Space. How you all going? So today, hang on, I'm just going to drop my table down a fraction. A bit better. Got one of these fantastic new tables that go up and down, electronic ones, so I can stand or sit or... It's fun. It's fun just to make it go up and down. So today I thought we'd play with these Anko poster paint sticks that I got a few videos back in a haul. But remember, I'll link the haul video below. I like to try out new things from Kmart. Like I need new art supplies, like I need a hole in the head. But been really impressed with the paint markers and the other markers so far. So today it's this chance. So poster paint sticks. So they're like almost like a lipstick, but they're paint. So this one, 6 pastel colours, painting on paper, cardboard, wood and canvas. Quick drying, silky finish, high opacity. Great for portable painting. Doesn't actually say on there whether they're washable or water reactive, so that will be interesting. And this one is the metallics. So we've got fuchsia, purple, gold, silver, blue, green. And in the pastels we've got pink, green, peach, yellow, baby pink, baby blue. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're water reactive. If they're water reactive, they'll be a lot like gelatos or stress crayons, you know, like the waxy crayons you can draw and then water react. Each of those have different properties, but it'd be interesting. I've got gelatos around somewhere that I haven't used. I must pull out and use again. So just opening up these 2 packs. I got these online. My local Kmart store didn't actually stock much, so I sort of tend to go online and see what they've got and then order it online. I've said in my videos before, anyone who's in Kmart, oh my god, Sunday morning and it's early. Anyone that's in Australia, you can actually get free shipping with Kmart Catch, and I think it's Target. It's $4 a month, so it's not really free shipping, but if you get 1 parcel a month, it's worth it, and I'm always ordering stuff because I just don't get to the shops. So we order a lot from Kmart. And you can order, there's no minimum order. I'm not sponsored by Kmart. I bought these with my own monies. There's no minimum order once you pay that $4 a month. So you can order something for $2. I did the other day and it worked, so it was funny. Poster paint sticks. What are we doing? We'll do the pastel ones first. Pastel. So I'm just going to swatch these out, and then I've got my art journal off to the side. We may end up using some of them on an art journal page, unless they're rubbish, and then we won't. So let me write the colours down. So most of it go this way. Pink. I would call that a mauve. It'd be interesting to what colour that comes out. Green. Let's leave a little bit of space, but I'm hoping to get both of these on the same bit of paper. Peach, yellow. Starting a swatch book of all my stuff. I'm only swatching on some 210 cardstock, 210 GSM cardstock that I got from Officeworks, so it's not the best. It's not been pre-gessoed or anything. My art journal page has been pre-gessoed. It's got a bit of paint on it, so it's more of a slick surface, so if they are water soluble, it should work better in there. But we'll have a go. I've got a paintbrush and a water pot off to the side. Let's bring that in. Yes, I use good old Vegemite jars as my water pots. So these are like, as I said, like a lipstick. Let's see if I can twist them up. So it'd be interesting to twist them up and see how much they've actually got in them. Let's do that to start with, because I'm always fascinated. Hopefully I can get it back down again. You still going? We're still going. Ah. Oh, okay, so you get that much paint. So you get about, almost all the stick. Now, can I get it back down? That is the, oh yeah, it's going to go back down. So that's a fair bit of product, actually. Some of them are deceiving. They only have a very small amount in them. But you've got about, I don't know, 2 inches, is it? So I just want to do them. Ooh, they are nice and silky smooth. Let's see if they smudge with my finger. They smudge a little bit with your finger. Let's see if they smudge with water. Now I've got... So I don't want my paintbrush absolutely soaking. I Okay, I don't think they're that. Getting a little bit off, but I don't think they're very, you lose a lot of the colour. It was more removing it than blending it. So it'll be interesting to when I do it on the gessoed surface. These might be just used solid. Oh, that's a nice green. So they dry really quickly. Obviously they're a paint stick that do dry really quickly. Let's just go on with the, see if I can drag that colour out. As I said, this is not the best paper, so I think I'll continue to water react them on here. I might have a go on the gessoed surface. Even stuff like gelatos and distress crayons and stuff work better on a gessoed surface because you've sealed the paper and the pigment doesn't sort of soak into the paper. Oh, it's a nice peachy. Maybe I'll pick a clean finger, not put peach in my green. Nice peachy colour. Nice with backgrounds. I've bought several products like these before. Quite a few companies have sort of paint sticks that are water reactive. I'm trying to get the cap off the wrong end by the looks of it. Oops. Ooh, I like that pink. So they are quite opaque. Sometimes you get pastels and they're just not very good colours. I think these are only, I should have grabbed the price. They weren't that expensive. They were between $5 and $10. I'm thinking they were $6 or $7. I do get the prices in my haul video. That's interesting. The baby blue. I suppose it is a blue. It's more of a purpley blue than a blue. So let's swatch out the metallics. I should have grabbed a scrap of black cardstock to swatch out the metallics. Bear with me one moment. I will find a scrap of black cardstock. So I've grabbed a bit of black cardstock. I've got all these weird cardstock offcuts. Trying to put my mouse away but not move the cursor on my screen, on my computer. Because I was making some cards the other day, and do you think, making some greeting cards, and I unfortunately did not cut down my card fronts before I made my card bases, so I got like one out of a 12-inch piece of paper. I'm not a card maker. Oh, some days I wonder, some days I should not be let craft. I just keep stuffing stuff up. I was going to grab a white pen so I can write on the top of my black piece of paper. We want that one. Sorry about the noise. Okay, we're going to go this way. So we've got Anko, poster, paint. So it's fun to get your supplies out when you first get them and have a bit of a play. As I said, this is not the best paper, but it gives you an idea of the colour, and it'd be interesting to see on a non-porous surface, as in a gessoed art journal page, whether these will react differently. If not, they're really cool, and they don't seem to have, well, now that they're dry a bit more, the last two I put down are a bit more, not so much dry, but these two up here, they're quite dry and they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? Sticky? Or greasy. Greasy is the word I'm looking for. I find the gelatos a bit greasy. So let's put here. And if you get your supply, can't spell today, paint sticks, metallic, and swatch them, it means you're playing with them, it means you can work out what they do. I still can't spell fuchsia. Purple, gold, silver. So they actually don't have the names written on the, I don't think they have the names written on there. They usually don't with Anko. No, it just says Anko poster stick. So it almost looks like a glue stick mechanism. That's probably what they've used. Let me write these names on here. Be interesting to see what the gold and silver's like. Been impressed with everything I got, except one pen I couldn't get to work the other day. So I'm just using, this is a jelly roll, this is from Officeworks. I like buying different brand white pens and paint pens and different things to try them out. And this one's just a Uniball Micro Eye. Sorry, Uniball Eye Fine, and then I have a micro one of those as well, that I like to use. The caps are really easy to get off. I'm just struggling a bit with a bit of elbow pain. So I have not a lot of strength in my elbows at the moment. It's really funny. I have tennis elbow and I don't play tennis. I've just got some injuries that are taking a while to heal and get treated. Don't you love Australian healthcare when you've got 3-month wait to get treatment for stuff? So they're not looking that good on black, which I would assume metallics would stand out. They've certainly got a glimmer. I can see a glimmer. Oh, I wonder how the gold goes. Oh, the gold's nice. Ooh. Except the purple and the pink aren't showing up that much. Oh, if you can hear the rooster, I apologise. He's not dawn and he shouldn't be crowing. Needs to be taught how to tell the time. Oh, I like the silver. Just making sure I clip those caps back on properly. I don't know whether they would dry out, but it's a good habit to get into. Thanks, Rooster. We know you're up. We know you're awake. Ooh, the blue's nice. So you can see they do have a metallic-y shine to them. I don't expect the green to show up much on the... Don't expect the green to show up much on the black. Oh, a little bit, but definitely the gold and silver are better on the black, which is good to know if you are going to use them on on the surface. I'm just going to try one of the metallics to pull it out with water. No, not really. It's sort of dissolving, but it's very faint. But I do like them. And they don't have any stickiness to them or residue on them. Ooh, these might be fun. Fun for a different purpose. I thought they would be water reactive, which, in my defence, it doesn't say washable on the paint sticks. Usually things that say washable and in sort of a kid's line, these are in sort of the art line, do sometimes are water reactive. There's my mouse. I'm trying to have my mouse somewhere close so I can pause and stop my video. Okay, so this is just one of my altered books. I marked a page. So this is just a use it up page. So this started as a use it up journal. It's actually broken into 2 journals because I didn't remove many pages from it. I've learnt now. My latest 2 journals have not broken into 2 journals. My first 3 did. So it's a learning experience. Actually, I've had 4 journals break into 2. I've had a professional bound journal, but I keep shoving too much in my journal. So this has got gesso in the background, and then it's got some of this, I don't know what that is, some sort of acrylic paint. So let's go with our pastels. Pastels or metallics? Pastels will probably work better with this colouring. So what we're going to do is just cover our background, and I'm apologising if the table is wobbling. I've got to get a new mount for my camera. There's not sitting on my sitting against my table. So when I run my table, okay, so it will move a bit better with on a gessoed surface. Ooh, but I still don't. It's like a very watery. It's almost like water paint. I don't like that. Let's get a bit of paper towel and just use it straight out of the. Where's my roll of paper towel? Oh, right in front of my eyes. I can't see for looking today. Seriously. Ah, that's interesting. On a gessoed surface, they'll almost wipe completely off. Good to know. Stuff up a mistake. And I just want to use them for a quick background. So I'm just going to do blobs of colour. Oh, they do, you can smudge them a bit more with your finger on a gessoed surface, which most things like this work better on a gessoed surface because the page is already sealed and it glides on a bit better, and it'll probably take a little bit longer to dry just because, but it is really a bit of paper towel, go ahead with my finger. Let's just give that a bit of a buzz with the heat tool. Quicken up the drying process. Oh, it's rubbing off. That's probably the best. Maybe these are meant for paper, not to go over paint. Oh, it's not rubbing off there. Why did it rub off down here? I have no idea. Let's put some more down there. It's got a strip of masking tape underneath the paint, just down the gutter of the spine, so that's why that bit of texture is happening there. That's very interesting that it is wiping off down here. What is going on? That's really, really funny. Is it wiping off the gesso? Because there's no paint down here. This is why your art journal is good for experimenting. Weird. Because it's not. Oh, okay. If I do. If there's a bit of texture, it wipes off. That's interesting to know. If I put a second layer on top, that's what I think it's doing. Putting the second layer on top is actually pulling the first layer off. Okay. Interesting product. So if you put a second layer on top, it's going to pull the first layer off if you go and smudge it with your fingers. So let's not try to put a second layer on top. All about experimenting. So these would be a good travel item. If you want to take not tubes of paint when you travel. Okay, let's not go over that again because I don't want it to pull off. Okay, let's see what other colours. Now I need a baby white. So bring my swatches back. So purple, pink. Let's put some pink in there. Just thinking what colours will go. Baby pink. Just give that a bit of a buzz with the heat tool. Obviously takes a little bit more to dry on the non-porous surface or the gessoed surface. I always go to pick these up. They've got like the etched in lid on both ends, so you've got this one that's the twisty bit, and it's got the lines in it, so it's easy more to grip, and it's got this on the cap as well, so I always go to pick it up and use it on the wrong side. So just doing a patchwork sort of look, just laying down a background. I wonder how easy it goes through a stencil. Might try that in a minute. Oh, but we'll be putting colours over the top of each other. So just putting, I'm not wanting to cover all the background, I might just go with 3 colours, just something quick to have a bit of a play with them on the gessoed surface. And put some blues in places. I'm not sure what sort of focal imager I'm going to put over the top of this page. I'll have to go find something. So they are quite opaque, so it is covering up that sort of yellowish paint in the background, which I sort of suspected it would do. But I don't mind leaving a bit of white space around the edge. Oops. I might put some more purple up in that corner. So it's a bit deceiving because this tube colour is this colour and it comes out quite dark, so they're not as pastel as I'd expect them to be. I'd say they're more mid-tone colours, because I probably wouldn't call these pastel in my book. Let me give that a bit of a dry. Let me go find some sort of focal image to put over the top, and I will be back and we'll finish this art journal page. I know I said don't put over the top, I'm not going to sponge it with my finger. I just wanted a bit more opaque. I didn't mess it up. And so let me give that a bit of a dry. The purple is nearly dry. Let me dry that off and I will go find some sort of focal image to put on the top and we'll finish this page off. Okay, so I've gathered a few elements. Still really don't know what I'm doing. The thing I've got to be careful of is this product is water reactive, so if I go and put any matte gel medium or acrylic medium or any wet sort of stuff on top, it may disrupt this. This is nice and dry now. So I've grabbed a couple of embellishments from a box I have that's leftovers or stuff-ups from my business. Say this is a strip of 3 and one has an oopsie in the machine, I get to play with the rest. So put the word art, which I thought I'd use somewhere. This is something I made ages ago that I thought the colours sort of went, and I've got a window. So I thought I will work on the background a bit more and then work on the elements. So this has turned into an art journal page as well as a bit of a demo. So I grabbed some magazine text. I love this, come out of I think a wedding magazine. I'm not sure what magazine, but it's I like it because it's got matte paper and then it's got these coloured pages with writing on it. So I like using these in my art journal. Not so much of that one. Let's try that one back in the tub. So I picked up a whole lot of these wedding magazines from the Facebook Marketplace. The lady was getting rid of them and they were the matte kind of paper, so I grabbed them. So they've got lots of images in them I probably wouldn't use, but I keep pulling out these coloured pages. And I thought I might add some strips of this. Because I was thinking about putting some tissue paper or something on top, but then I thought, oh, that's going to, the glue is going to interact with the base, so I can just glue these on with a glue stick. So I sort of just want to, I don't know what I'm doing. Often I don't know what I'm doing until I start actually gluing stuff down. I thought I had a third colour. Maybe it was that strip. And again, I want some words going. So I use the words not as words, but as a design element. So half the time the words are cut off and not to be used, not to be not to be read. I'll put it that way. So maybe something across here. I don't even know what these say. Oh, you engage. No doubt you're feeling overwhelmed urge. No doubt you'll feel the overwhelming urge off your ring. Something was cut off. Lock it in the venue and tell everyone. Ah, urge to tell everyone you're engaged. Oh, okay. Now I get it. I thought you ripped the ring off and throw it away. So I sort of want to have these connected a bit just because I don't like things floating. And that's why I was going to use that other colour because it was a bit darker. There's an orange, but it's not really the colour I'm looking for. So that's why I did grab this darker pink out. Oh. So we just want to sort of... Then they have like white writing on it as well. So it's just a good design element. Even black and white text for a magazine works really well. I don't know what I'm doing. As I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just adding some interest into the background. Engagement etiquette. Interesting. So it must be from wedding and engagement. Mainly albums, mainly magazines. So even stuff like this was really cool with the foliage on it, and I love it because it's not shiny. Let's add, I've only got one strip of the blue. We need to add a bit more blue in there. What I'm going to do is cut this one down. Oh, and I don't care that my, well, as soon as I say that I go really wonky. I don't care that my cutting is not that straight. You could cut it on a paper trimmer. I just want to add little bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3. Okay, I like that. Now to stick it down. Now I'll stick down this bottom one first. So I'm just using all-purpose art glue from Couture Creations. I like it because it's either got this bigger tip, well I'll cut this off a bit, and you can buy the additional silver nozzle to put on it. Now mine's really getting low. I have to go and buy a new bottle or a refill bottle. That one is the mid-size bottle, so what I'd probably do is go and buy the smaller bottle, and then go and buy a refill for it. I'm just finding, as I mentioned before, I'm having issues with my elbows, and squeezing glue is not fun. I'll put it that way. Not fun at all. So squeezing that size bottle, and that almost disappears in the background. You almost just see the text, which is really cool. So how did I have this? See, I've got all my elements touching, so they're not just floating in midair. So everything I build onto this, I'm going to build onto my something I've previously stuck down. Even if it just touches a little, and that's not where I had it. Okay, shouldn't talk and craft at the same time. How to practice with doing videos. Oh, I've got glue there and I'm trying not to. Even a little bit of glue is lifting up that paint, so I've got to be so careful. So sometimes why I don't like using, when was that? That was about here. I'll put this one down first. Things that are water reactive in my art journal as base layers, because I don't know what's going to come next, and then I have to be careful of what comes next. Yeah, I can try to probably seal it, but that sounds like all too much work. I'll try to do some stenciling over the top of this and tie this in. Where was that? Was that video? I don't know. Just randomness, just following sort of the blockiness from the background. I don't know. Ask me why I do things in my journal and you'll get the answer of I have no idea why. It just feels good at the time. It's just fun. I'm playing around. It's early. I'm up earlier than the household today, so I get to play. It's nice and quiet until the rooster starts crowing. was just double checking I was recording. Yes, I am. Sometimes I forget when I come back to press record and wonder why I don't have film. Trying to be a bit more active on this channel. I know it's been neglected, but life has just, the last couple of years have just been, and still currently, very, very busy. Busy with work, busy with family life. I'm sick of making appointments and making plans, because I get all my ducks in a row and then one duck falls over and you start all over again, and it's just a domino effect. So you change this appointment, which knocks out this, which knocks out this, which knocks out this. It's just, I've got a full diary lately, and it's just, then you need one duck to fall over, and then there goes your whole month or your whole week, just hell in a handbasket, as they say. But it makes life fun. So yeah, this channel has been a bit neglected, but we're hoping to fix that. Must put a bit of glue on there. Ooh, that background is quite, ew. Okay, don't like the fact that it just peels straight off. Maybe these I won't be keeping. I don't know. Usually I give products a couple of goes. I'm just going to put some of that colour back there before I totally decide I don't like them. Must have got a bit of glue there. For some reason it was peeling off. That's a bit frustrating, but we can stick some more colour back there. So I've just got to be a bit careful what I put on top of this. And maybe because they're not water reactive, I just go back to plain paper, because these aren't moving at all. No. So maybe these are just to be used on plain paper, but we're going to persist and finish this page. Now, let's have a play around with our elements again. I want to put something behind that window to make it stand out. And why the window and why the person with the funny funky head? Because they're in my bits box to use up. And I'll have to paint that art. I was actually thinking of, and I'll probably regret leaning over and grabbing this with one hand. I was thinking of, did I leave enough, or did I, the reason I wasn't going to cut into that bit of paper was I was going to use it. Do I have enough? I don't really want the words to go the other way, and I don't have none of that sheet of that paper outgoing and looking. We're going to just miss the top of it. Even if, we go this way. Then it'll be like the words shouldn't have to be read at all. Okay, let's go that way. Make a decision and stick to it. Trying to be more decisive with my art journaling, and the first thought is what I go with, because I can be as indecisive as anything. It's probably way too much glue on that, but that happens. Yep, way too much glue. That's right, I just look like cobwebs. That's right. They're dries clear, that glue. Now, while that is drying, with the excessive amount of glue I put on it, let's do some, I think we need some stenciling in the background. So I've got some stencils hanging around on my desk, and we're just going to grab one of those because I can't be bothered looking for any others. Do you tend to do that? Just grab off your desk what? Oh no. Oh, I am recording. I thought I wasn't recording. I had to go back to my computer for a minute. So, oh my god. Okay. So, do you just grab off your desk what is hanging around and craft with? I am very guilty of that lately. I am too lazy to go find, except I have to go find some paint. I am too lazy to go find anything that's not at arm's reach. I'm dreadful. Unless I go looking for something in Pacific before I start a project. Actually, I've got this little box of stuff up here. That is my use it up box. I was going through a couple of videos back. You will notice the empties, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I went through my empties and I found a whole bunch of stuff that had gone off, and this is a bunch of stuff that needs to be used up. So I'm just pulling out, actually I've got some of those. So I thought if I sat them here on my desk, I've got a couple of these new Delusions paints I used to sell, and I haven't opened them yet, and that one feels a bit icky, might have died. I'll open it one day, and I've got a grey one. The grey one doesn't sound too good at all. So one day I'll open up those and do a lot of gel printing or something. I've got sparklies. A couple of these I had to throw out because I'd opened them and forgotten about them. So these little tub, this little purple tub is on my desk of things that I want to use up. So don't want the green. These are magic opal paints, so they change colour depending on what surface you put them on. So this goes blue violet. This one changes from blue to violet on darker surfaces, and this one goes from pink to blue on darker surfaces. So let's sponge with some of those. That's like a texture paste, embossing texture paste, and it hasn't been opened yet. So I had a couple of these that I'd opened and tested, and they went hard. In my defence, I had not used them for a little bit. Okay, a lot. So yeah, in my defence, I should use my supplies a lot more, but things just got pushed to the side. So I was trying to find something the other day and ended up going through a bit of my stash. What colour are we going to go? So I think the pink's going to stand out. So these ones I put aside to, I used to use these in classes. I no longer use these particular products in classes, so I put them in my, oops, there are tweezers come flying out at me. I put them in my box to use up. And hopefully seeing them on my desk, that means that I will go to them first. So I'm just grabbing a makeup sponge. Don't know whether you can see down here. I'll push my heat tool back. So just using a makeup sponge and just tapping it into the paint and then tapping it off. This is a metallic paint. So this might actually change colour on the different surfaces, which will be interesting. Okay, it's very, very light. These are pastel paints that I had. As I said, I was teaching these in a class, using them in a class at some of our shows before COVID locked everything down and shut everything down. I haven't been back to the shows yet. Every time I look at a show date, it clashes with something else that I've got on. That's the year of this year is clashing dates. People expect me to be in two places at once. Split myself in two and be in several spots at once, which is not real conducive to life, splitting yourself in two. So I've had to prioritise a few things. So just going over the paper mainly where it's standing up, but I am going off the paper as well. So these are pastel paints, so they won't show up as well. Oh, but you are, and they have a bit of a metallic sheen to them, so you are seeing them. Okay, you are seeing them. Do I want to put them anywhere else? Actually, I want to probably extend that down here. probably doing this right under where my focal images are going, but I don't quite know where they're going, so that's right. So I'll just scoop this back into the little tub. It's amazing how long your paints last, how little you use of some of your products. Just trying not to get that on the rim because these ones stick. I think when manufacturers design products, they have to design an airtight lid, because these ones are not exactly airtight. Okay, let's give that a bit of a buzz with, let's get rid of that paint because I'll put my elbow in it. Okay, now let's cut this out and have a play with placement. Try not to cut into my white shape. It's a bit, and it had the paper at the back has gone a bit wrinkly, but I don't care. Excuse my head if it's getting into shot. I need to see what I'm cutting, otherwise I cut the wrong thing. So she can be grounded to the page, and the colours work nice. So now this just needs to be grounded or connected to the page somehow. Actually, I might, I've got a big fat texture, I just want to do skinny line. So this is just a big fat oil-based, I don't like it, so I'm trying to use it up, oil-based marker from Officeworks. I like that it had the big chisel tip on it, but it stinks to high heaven, so I don't like it. And when I put the cap back on, I sometimes put it on incorrectly, user error, and I stuff up this chisel tip, which is, you should do this with an alcohol marker, but I don't actually have a black one at the moment. Stands out a bit more. Actually, I need to fix up her face where I trimmed a bit off it. There we go, just put a little bit of line back on her face, because I trimmed into her nose and her mouth because I wasn't quite happy with how it was looking. Okay, now do I need something to ground this, or because it looks like it's floating? Actually, what I want to do is take this and draw around the insides of the windows. So let me just get rid of my book for a minute. Take my glasses off, and I just want to go and put a little bit of a black line. Apologise if my head's in the way, it's probably in the way, I'm sorry. See how I'm just putting, you can see these two I've done, I'm just putting a black line on the inside of that edge, just to give it a bit more definition. And I'm being really careful to be really on the edge. My hand's wobbling a bit, but hey, that's cool. It's an old church. Probably should have done this before I stuck the paper down, and then I could have used my chisel tip, but things are good in hindsight, aren't they? While I'm doing this, welcome to all the new subbies on the channel. We've had quite an influx in the last couple of weeks, which is fantastic, probably because I'm posting a bit more regularly. Can't expect subscribers if I don't post regularly, can I? So for anyone that's new, welcome. I do have low vision, so sometimes my head will get in the way. I'm trying to determine another way of filming or having two cameras going. I'm not real technical like that, and I can't get a better angle. I like the overhead angle when I watch videos, so I try to do that with my videos as opposed to sort of on an angle. But then my head gets in the way because my head gets between the camera and what I'm doing, because I have low vision and I have to be quite close to do stuff like that. Story of my life. Plus I need new, I wear glasses for distance, but I probably need new, I do need new close-up glasses, but I don't know whether they're actually going to work for the purpose that I need them to work for. Like, if they're going to work as good as I need them to. Does that make sense? I don't know. Clear as mud, right? Okay. I think we need a bit more black in the background. So what I'm going to do is just do a squiggly line or two around my pieces of paper. Just bring a bit more black into the background. Deliberately doing a couple of squiggly lines, because one squiggly line usually looks squiggly and out of place, but a couple squiggly lines looks like you've made to do it. So that's why I love this pen. These pens are almost indestructible, these Uniball Eye, whether it's a micro or the fine, because you can go over, well, obviously dry paint and dry other stuff, and the tips don't tend to block up. I find other pens will get a bit of paint or a bit of something in the nib, and then you've wrecked your pen. Trust me, I've wrecked enough pens in the past to be an expert on wrecking pens. If you watched a few videos back, it would be the empties video, and you see all the pens. Some of them I didn't empty, I broke by going over wet stuff, because I have the patience of a goldfish when I'm art journaling and don't like to wait for things to dry. Some other artists and designers say to wait 3 hours before you go over paint with a pen, but who has that in their life, unless I get interrupted and don't get back to my book. I might ground that up there actually. This might ground down here, but I'm feeling I need something more for the page. I'm going to work out where she's going. So I either need some Art by Marlene die cuts, which go with just about everything, or to sort of fill in here to ground this, or some of my die cuts painted in a different colour. Let's work out what colour we want this art to be. Do I want it to be the blue colour? Or do I want it to be pink? It's sitting mainly on blue, isn't it? So I probably want it to be pink. So let's paint that while we're thinking about it. So this is a Opal Magic by Art Alchemy. This is pink / blue, so it's pink, and then when you put it on a dark surface it goes blue. They're really cool paints. I don't use them as much anymore, so I've got last few colours I want to use up. So I've got oodles of paint, just getting it off the rim so it doesn't block up. So yes, if you put, it's also metallic paint, so if you put this on a darker surface, it goes the second colour in the lid. So they're fun to work with. Does my head in though, because you're painting pink and it's appearing blue, so my brain doesn't particularly like it. It's like when you drink those clear liquids that taste like stuff. You can get like Schweppes clear soft drink, but then it has a lime flavour and my head goes, no, don't like that. Oh, I do like that. Okay, let's dry that off. So they're nice metallic paints on their own, but then you can get quite a few different colours out of the one tube or the one bottle by putting them on different surfaces. It's fun to play with. So I put them onto greys and blacks and all sorts of fun stuff. Put that in the wash as well. Give that a quick buzz. Curling up, but it will settle when I glue it down. And when that's dry or more dry, I might go and put a border around it like I've got in the background. Okay, now I think I need some more little die cuts or finishing things. Maybe some little animals. She needs some animal friends. Let me go look at my Art by Marlene die cuts, and I will be back in a minute when I decide what I'm going to do. Okay, I think I've decided. I rated my Art by Marlene die cuts. I love her die cut books. I've got quite a few of them. Some of these come from the big XL one. Some of them come from, these two I think come from the space one. And don't know what the others come from, because I was just flipping through and grabbing stuff. So I sort of did this scene and this needed something, so I decided to add all these bits. So they're not stuck down or anything, so I'm going to stick them all down together. The reason I love the Art by Marlene die cuts is they're so colourful and so pretty, and they go with just about everything. So let's stick the background things down first. So I found this moon and thought this just looked really cool. And they make quirky scenes, and I sort of stuck it under here, which was really cool. I like making sort of scenes or telling stories in my art journal. So this is probably a girl with her art supplies heading out to her friends, which are the birds in the birdhouse. She's going out to do some art for the day. I don't know, silly I know. But that's me. Art journaling doesn't have to make sense. You just have to have fun along the way. Now hopefully nothing else had to go under that. And just about any page that I go, oh, I think an Art by Marlene die cut will go, and within her books I find the colours just work. So I was mainly looking for pinks, purples and blues, but the colours just work with just about anything I want to make, which is fantastic. So I want these three little houses to go here. So let's stick those down. That one's in the background. Oh, I've really got to get a glue stick refill, a glue pot refill. Usually I don't like sticking things over the gutter of my book, but this time I'll make an exception. I don't know, if you use Art by Marlene die cuts, do you pick your die cuts first, then make your background, or do you like me and just play and then go, oh, I need something, and I have to find something that suits? But usually with all her stuff, even if you just get that big XL one, which is a massive book, it's got like 50 pages in or something, it's a huge amount, you'll find something that goes with just about everything, every colourways, because, well, that's what I find anyway. I love her little birds. I've actually got this one in a stamp, I believe, which I must pull out and stamp some out and colour some of my own, but I'm not the best colourer. My colouring ability and my patience for colouring is not very good. I don't enjoy it. I must try it more. Did that have something in the middle of her legs to pop out? I think it did. Whoops. I thought it did when I pulled it out. Now I've got glue on it. It's going to make it a bit more difficult. So colouring and shading and it's not really my forte, or it's not what I enjoy. I rather draw and do stuff, but I am sort of getting better at wanting to try to colour my own stuff. That one's got glitter on it, which is really cool. Some of my colouring is very basic and not so shadowy and not so elaborate, but I'm getting there now. I think I will tack these to my big image, or the ones that are going underneath anyway, first. And I've got to extend her shirt because I want her to go up a bit more, so I can put the word art down the bottom. So I want some of these sticking in and sticking out. So we'll do the paintbrush first. I'll glue these down a bit better in a minute. I could use a glue stick for this, I suppose, but my glue is in my hand. Which one will come next? This one, I think, come next. So if I sat there and I had stamps of all these and I had to stamp them out and cut them out, I probably wouldn't use them as much, because as much as the die cuts, because die cuts are just easy. When you're art journaling and when you're in the mood, you just want things to be easy. I should stamp out a lot of my images and pre-colour them. I have a lot stamped out in white of my dilution stamps, which I use and tend to leave white or put a little bit of colour on, but one day I must sit there and just stamp some out and colour them. And I don't know where I want that to fall. I think I've moved that paintbrush where I had it. Okay, so I want the A word art down here. So what I want to do is wipe off my glue. So I was just double checking I was filming. Sometimes I put it on pause and don't forget to put it back on. Tape again. I want to draw around this like I did that. Just that little bit of colouring around can make these words and elements pop out. So again, doing a couple of squiggly lines, and I'll have to go around the word art just to make it stand out. So just some really scribbly lines. I apologise if my head's in the way. I'll show you what I'm doing in a minute. So I'm just drawing around like I did the windows. It's very messily at the moment. Whoops. That's right, art's very messy, isn't it? Probably picked a too thick a pen, but hey, we are going to go with it. It's going to stand out there, so put that off to the side to dry before I put my big finger in and smudge it. I want her to sit up a bit further, so I want to extend her black and white next. Grab my paint pens out. I want that one, I think, and that one. Is that one been started? Yep. So these are all the black and white pens I use in one packet. I tend to use my art desk for a lot of things, and things would get lost and shoved off to the side. So I saw those little containers at Daiso, and they were black and white, which was cool, because this is my white one. Don't have as many white pens. So these are all my open paint pens, and the currently ones I'm working with. So in theory, when I'm finished with them, they go back in the package, and then I can find them. And then I don't lose it and go and grab a new one and have 3 of the same ones open, which is what has happened in the past, which is quite annoying. So paint pens, if you continuously use them, they tend to keep from blocking up. How big do I want that to go up? I actually want her to go there, so I'm actually just going to glue her down at the bottom. So it's been working well. I've been using it for a couple of months now with my black and white paint pens. And I've got another pencil case sitting next and with my coloured paint pens in it. So it's handy if I go and work somewhere else. I can, either in the house or outside the house, I can just pick up that packet and I know I've got all my black and white pens in there. Sometimes when I take Alexis to activities, I will have an hour and a half to sit and do something. And I will take some of my art journals and purposely leave a few pages in there that need just the line work done on them. Then I can sit there and do do the line work at her activity. Sit in the corner. I was at the library the other day, drawing away. Get my white paint pens out and make these stripes white as well. Stripes usually get thicker as they go down your body, don't they? Now I'm going to swap to a bigger, fatter paint pen. And hopefully be able to colour in without making a mess. It's going to be interesting going over that paint, the metallic paint. And hopefully my paint pen goes over that quite well. The white I might have to do a couple of coats on it. Quite happy how this art journal turns out. I don't art journal for the finished project. I art journal for relaxing, for taking time out of my busy week, for just me time. So yeah, as I was saying, I don't art journal for a pretty picture at the end. Yes, I'm liking this. Probably need to do something more in the background. I might take that stencil and put a bit more stencil in the background, just with a pen, just to give it a idea of having some more texture in the background. I'll have a look when I finish. Stuck this down completely, shouldn't I? Oh. Sometimes this glue dries fairly quickly, and sometimes on big things like doing something like this, yeah, I've got a problem. It dries before you can get glue on the entire piece to stick down. That's the only problem with that glue. Sometimes is it dries too quickly. I think it has on certain parts here. I'll just go through and glue any bits that I missed or dried too quickly. So I also like the fine tip of this because you can get into areas if you need to. Yes, my book often gets turned upside down, inside out, well not inside out, when I'm crafting, because it's just easier. Especially if I'm doodling or drawing up the top of the page, I like it to be quite close to where I am. Is that glue having issues over those paint sticks? Right. Ow! Sorry for the sneeze. Oh, jeez. Jeez Louise. Getting old, and you sneeze. It hurts. Okay, now, white paint pens. I did have all my black and white paint pens in one packet, and it was just too many to look through. I've got too many in my black at the moment, but I have been good. I've been collecting my paint pens all around the house and putting them in one spot. So when I use up a paint pen, if I've got a second one in there that's the same thickness, or even if it's a different brand, I will hold off putting another one in there till I use some of them up. It's not going to get completely back to white, but these Posca paint pens aren't particularly opaque. Posca paint pens aren't particularly opaque with their white. This corner's coming up. Let's shove some more glue under there. put some shadowing around. Oops. Ooh. I just answered my own question. Do I want to do some shadowing with my Stabilo or pencil? Probably not, because when I go to activate it, it's going to mess up the background. Where's our little art? Is that dry? A bit more messier than I thought it would be, that, but art's messy, right? And sometimes I am as well. So I want the words to be seen and not overlapping her jacket. Just holding another piece down while I do that. I do want to go round. What am I going to go round it with? Maybe I'll go round it with. Just thinking out loud. What about that bit pen I got the other day? That hopefully won't get ruined. So what I want to do is just put a bit of a B. But that was supposed to be a brush tip. Where's my brush? I've got these new Pick pens. I've admired Pick pens for ages, just because I like that they're permanent. Let me have a look. So my Officeworks actually got them in open stock the other day. I was wandering around Officeworks because Alexis was at an activity, so I ran some errands and then went back to the library and did my colouring. So I thought I picked up ones that had B on them, and my recollection of Pick pens was the brushes were quite like that. Not like this. Okay. It's a very fine brush. Weird. And the others are not. Even weirder. So this might just add a bit of a shadow. I'd usually do with the Stabilo oil pencil, but Stabilo oil pencil you activate with water. But if I activate it with water, and then mess up the background. So I'm just putting some defining lines where my shapes are overlapping. I mainly want to do this to the ones that are in the background. I have to check before I buy these pens again. I didn't open up and use them. But I do like the Pitt Artist pens because, as I said, they are permanent when they dry, which means you can go and add. I don't think my birds need outlining. Maybe my art supplies do on this side, just to give them a bit of shadowing. I also like the Pitt Artist pens because when you what am I doing? It's time for food, I think. When you use them over gesso or a slick surface, they take a few seconds to dry and you can actually smudge them, which is really cool. Put my glasses off. Apologise if my head's in the way. So I'm just putting a very sketchy line around the die cuts, and I'm going to do it around my big. So doing a line or some sort of shadowing around your shapes, even though this is a very not the shadowing I sort of wanted to do, but it'll work. It sort of makes it stand out from the background a bit more and doesn't look like it's stuck on. Hang on. I'm trying to pick my book up so my head stays out of the way, but I can still see what I'm doing, so hopefully you can still see. So around the die cuts I'm going quite sketchy. Gives it a bit of a shadow as well. putting in between the die cuts and around. Right girl, what I made. Oh, I don't think I said, I made this girl from one of my stencils. Neve Bailey did a class with us at a retreat quite a while ago with hillbilly scrapping and showed us how to take someone else's stencil and make this half funny face. And I thought, oh, I have face stencils in my range, so I decided to try it with mine, and I got a bit addictive. And I put stamps in this one, and the funkier the hair the better. I put stamps all over this one's hair, stamped a butterfly on her, and did some quite funky ones quite a while ago actually. I think this was not last year, the year before, I don't know when it was. So to bring those die cuts out, I'm just going to put a line where they overlap my girl's hair. Just sort of shows them they're on the front, gives it a bit more dimension. I believe there's a video on my scrapbooking and craft channel. I have two YouTube channels. I have this one, and this one's Alexis and Melinda's Art Space, obviously, where my daughter and I come on and play. I do product reviews and things. I don't necessarily promote my products, but I may use them on the page like today. Just putting a very scratchy border around the edge. So I believe there is a how-to video on making these faces on my scrapbooking and craft. It's always linked below. Sort of work channel, where it's more free classes, more tutorials, more professional. Me professional? No. Trying to put these away and I keep. That's the only problem with these, is if the top is open, they will fly everywhere. I dumped them on the back of my desk and all on the floor the other day. I had to climb under my desk to pick them up. And I've got way too many pens in there. So I've got to make sure they are closed before I go and throw them back. I don't think it needs any more thing in the background. I think the background calms it down and breaks it up. Very happy with that. So that was a play with the poster paint sticks, which I thought might be water reactive, which turned out they're not real water reactive, but that's okay. They make a cool background. Just got to be careful of what you put on top of them. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. Didn't know I was going to do a full up journal page in the video today, but it just happened that way. So I'll take some photos and put some still photos at the end of the video so you can have a closer look. I was going to add some more sort of texture into the background, but I think it's got enough. I think the front is overly busy, so the background is enough. It's looking a bit bare through here, but I think it helps to balance the images as well. I don't know. I'm calling it done. Finished. Walk away. Thank you very much for watching if you've watched right to the end, and I hope to bring you some more videos soon. These I'm still, I might use the metallic ones in the background and see how they work. I want to experiment with them a bit more. Obviously not with water. In my defense, they didn't say water reactive or water washable on them. That's alright. Bye for now.